This is such a hot topic, specifically within our sector and within our industry right now. When we're talking about the CX impact from a customer end perspective, because when we look at regionalizing, so if we look at regional gotchas, traditional lab testing essentially is that. It's a lab environment. So if you're testing in a US environment into a US contact center and everything is pretty much on net and it's localized, you're not going to catch any of those regional global gotchas. Working with some of the biggest companies in the world across all the major sectors. And the nature of what we do is we step outside that global contact center network and we replicate the customer experience from the outside in. So when you're doing that and you're localizing that process in over 100 countries around the world, you're getting a much bigger visual impact on what's essentially impacting the AI agents. When you take for example, US to US, right? It's still pretty much a localized lab environment. But if you start looking at Asia infrastructure traversing all the way back to the US, take things like you're going to have challenges with codec compression. You can have things with latency profiles. You can have different audio processing chains. You're introducing multiple layers into that communication chain. And there's multiple hops and there's multiple telco environments that are passing on voice services. But what's happening essentially, like I said before, with things like codec compression and latency profiles, that's having a dramatic impact across that global voice chain because you're starting to see latency impact. And when you introduce that into not a lab environment, but if you're introducing that into a real live AI agent environment, latency has a dramatic impact. Codec compression, you can start to see degradation of voice quality. But not just that, right? You take this a step beyond. If you're looking at AI agents being trained on different acoustic conditions, for example, you take the likes of dialects. So a Spanish language agent trained on Catalan Spanish, for example, they can have real trouble trying to comprehend Argentine or Caribbean Spanish. Even take me, right? Irish English, right? So for me to speak normal English, how the Irish dialect carries the English language is slightly different and it's interpreted differently. So when you factor in all these multiples in a real world environment, taken away from a lab environment, it's going to have a dramatic impact. And then you're localizing this across all these countries, voice traversing multiple carriers, multiple environments, and having multiple impacts on things like codec compression, latency, and different audio processing chains. All of these real-world attributes and real-world environments has a massive impact on what the end destination at the end impact is going to be.